This week's Farm Basics is brought to you by satshot.com. Satellites aren't just for NASA anymore. Use the power of satellite imagery to create variable rate management zones in your fields. To reduce input costs and increase yields on your farm, go to satshot.com.
Now, Farm Basics time today, we're going to discuss the value of grass, especially grass waterways in fields.
Yeah, we're standing in a road ditch right here, but Darren thought it'd be a good idea if we just stand in grass somewhere.
At least we're in some grass, so we can kind of show that. But when you think about it, you look at fields and you say, man, they tilled up everything. Here's one little grass strip through the valley.
It's called a grass waterway for a reason. That's where when lots of rain hits, there's going to be a good amount of water that has to move through a field in some cases. Water is always going to go to the lowest point. Well, like right on this farm that we're on here, I've seen 6-inch rains hit, enormous amount of rain that's not just coming from this field, it's coming from several fields because there's a fairly good-sized watershed here. It all comes down and all comes running through one area of this field. That's why it's grass. It's designed to catch that water so we don't have major soil erosion problems.
Well, for farmers, they may have a grass waterway and they may not. For example, I just picked up a new piece of ground. There's no grass waterway where a lot of the water runs off the surface. By not having some kind of buffer strip there, you are subject to a little bit more surface erosion of that soil. So farmers have taken a number of different steps to prevent erosion. One would be putting in a grass waterway. Another thing would be to eliminate tillage across the farm. Both of those things can work together to reduce the amount of erosion. But grass waterways can create some problems in fields, believe it or not. One of those could be insects.
So talking about these insects and the insect problems we might have with waterways, it's something like this. Let's say we have moths that fly in, and moths generally like to land in grass and lay their eggs there. So you've got a grass waterway, nothing else is out in the field, no weeds, nothing early in the season, but the moths come in, they lay their eggs, then those eggs will become worms later on and they'll move out and migrate out into that field. So we usually see stalk borer problems and other bugs that would be coming from moths and eggs around those grass waterways. So that can be an issue when we're talking insects.
One other thing that we many times see along grass waterways is some different weed species. When you think about it, you're dealing with a grass strip in a field rather than an area that may be tilled or maybe raising corn or soybeans or wheat. So there are certain weeds like thistles from time to time where thistle seed will be blowing in the wind and catching these waterways. So farmers do have to do a little bit of maintenance in the grass waterways to control those weeds so they don't spread out into the field.
One of the other big issues is over time, when a farmer does tillage out in the field, if he doesn't do it just right all the time, you can actually have the waterway sitting slightly higher than just outside the edge of the waterway, and the water will literally run right alongside the waterway, unless of course you get a real big rain. So that's a problem too. Farmers have to do a good job taking care of these waterways, like Darren said, with weeds, but also just in general maintenance of that waterway. The water needs to be able to get into the waterway and then go down it, so we don't have major erosion problems.
Well, for all that extra work, there are a couple of benefits, of course, less erosion. Also, sometimes farmers can bale the grass hay that will be growing in these waterways and use that for livestock during the year as well. All in all, grass waterways are very important for many fields around the country. One thing that's not very important is the nasty weeds that can rob farmers of their yields. Can you identify this week's weed?